A couple of days ago, I asked NBA Twitter, what NBA events do you wish that NBA Twitter was around for? I'm not talking about just Twitter in general, that's been around since '06. I'm talking about like the height of NBA Twitter. Like everything gets turned into a meme NBA Twitter. What NBA events would have just broken this site? Broken like those phones that never have cases on them. Most of you have cases on your phone anyway, so they might as well look good, right? Athletic Cases has a ton of options with different player art from different sports, so if you want to try and save your phone from inevitably cracking in style, be sure to visit athleticcases.com with the link in the comment section and in the description. 2001 Finals Game 1. Oh yeah, that would have been such a huge event. There's just so much going on there. First of all, you have the fact that the Lakers had not lost a playoff game to that point, and they get to the NBA Finals against a team that they are clearly superior to. And Iverson just goes off, and then of course you have him stepping over Tyronn Lue, which in 2019 is actually a meme that people use, so imagine back then how many imagine the memes flowing the night this actually happened. The closest thing we have to 2001 Finals Game 1, I think in like situation and context, I think would probably be the 2018 Finals Game 1 where LeBron had some crazy amount of points and they almost beat the Warriors that night. That feels very similar. But of course back in 01, the Lakers actually take their only loss of the playoffs, so yeah, that would have been a very funny night to have NBA Twitter. Malice at the Palace. Oh my god, you don't understand how mad I am that social media in general was not around back then. You know, it's funny because me and my cousin back in around like 2007, 2008, back when I was just discovering how to download videos on the PS3, one of the videos I downloaded was the Malice at the Palace. And look, there was some humor to that situation, alright? We just laughed at the whole thing, like we just kept watching it and laughing, and I can only imagine NBA Twitter being a big thing. And you think about all the Twitter accounts, the NBA Twitter accounts like Worldwide Wob, those accounts that cover things like a minute after they happen. Just imagine the flood that comes from the Malice at the Palace onto Twitter. And the memes, some dude said it'd be like 100 memes a minute. Oh yeah, that whole thing is getting memeified. It was big news back then, so just imagine the clips that spread all over Twitter, all over Instagram. That would supply NBA Twitter with enough fire to survive for like another month. Just that one event alone, like it would not get old for a very long time. Kobe 81-point game, oh of course. What's the most we've had somebody score since then? Was it like 60 points probably? 60 something points, I don't know how many. But the funniest thing about Twitter being around, if it was around for this 81-point game, would be field goal percentage Twitter. Could you imagine them, even though Kobe actually shot good that night? I could just hear them right now. Oh, look how many shots he took. Anybody can score 81 points on that. Look how many free throws he took. Man, shut the fuck up. This announcement, the Magic Johnson HIV announcement, yeah, that would be crazy. I've actually thought about this, like when I can't remember which documentary I was watching. I think it might have been the Magic and Bird one. But when I see him giving that announcement, I just think like, wow, how about something like this in the modern day? That's like the equivalent of a LeBron James or Kevin Durant type player having to come out into a press conference and essentially say that they're retiring because they're sick. So then after that, you expect them to be dead because of what the sickness is. You expect them to be dead in a certain amount of time, and it's all just very sudden. And then it just completely changes the future of whatever team these guys are actually on. And yeah, that situation gets memeified as well. It's just gonna happen. That's what NBA Twitter is. That's what Twitter is. Yeah, I really can't comprehend what NBA Twitter would do if we had a top player today come out and have to retire because of a sickness. That'd be an insane situation. Kobe's very public trade request with Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, Kobe Bryant's trade request in general actually. Think about that one video where he's wearing a Chicago jersey, and I believe some fans asked him something about the trade, and he essentially said that yeah, he was ready to move on from the Lakers. Do you know how crazy it would have been for social media to be a big thing back then because it was on video? Like imagine NBA Twitter having a video of the best player in the NBA saying, yeah, you know, I'm ready to go ahead and move on. He's wearing a different team's jersey. Oh yeah, that NBA Twitter would have a field day with that one. And then this one says Kobe's rape trial. You know, it is actually interesting to think about how much bigger of a deal this would have been, not even with just NBA Twitter, but with the Me Too movement. This guy raises a good point. He says that the NBA would have to even rethink letting him back in the league. And this day and age, yeah, you know, Kobe Bryant was able to compete back then, but I know he would be late for certain games because he was like, you know, he had to fly to court and into the game. And then you have all these scenes of him walking in a suit into the court, like all those are getting turned into memes. I think the NBA crowds would be even more brutal on him. It would just be a non-stop circus. He wouldn't be able to get on social media. As a matter of fact, like this guy said, I don't know if he would have been able to play that season. Being such a high-profile player with a high-profile case like that, I'm not sure today's media attention would allow him to keep playing. AI breaking Antonio Daniels' ankles. Oh my goodness, I wish. This just might be my favorite cross ever. He hit Antonio Daniels twice with the same move. He slipped twice, and then he finished it. You know how Bleacher Reports and all these other professional accounts, they get a hold of these and they turn them into video memes? Like they probably would have had Antonio Daniels sinking into the floor or something and transporting to hell. I don't know. They would have came up with something creative. Yeah, this is one of those underrated crosses specifically because it happened before any kind of social media existed. Yeah, I wish. T-Mac's 13-point comeback against the San Antonio Spurs, definitely. I don't think we've had anything really close to that happen. Like we've had improbable comebacks like game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals. We've had things like that, but this is like a regular season game, but the game was really over. Like they were down to the point that it would take a miracle to come back, and that was a miracle. He made like every shot he took, every foul that needed to happen happened, the turnover. Basically anything that has an anniversary date would be huge on NBA Twitter, and we still talk about T-Mac's performance, and that was a really long time ago. Here's an interesting one. He says the 04 NBA Finals, that team would be legendary and greater respected. Shaq and Kobe would still be copping heat, and Billups and Wallace would be Hall of Famers, no doubt. Wow, does NBA Twitter really have that much power? On one hand, I think the Pistons are respected. People still talk about them a little bit, the 04 Pistons. But I do get what he's saying. Yeah, Shaq and Kobe at that time, I think they would have got a lot more heat for losing. Because right now, I think people just talk about it as something that happened, but then Shaq went on to win another championship. Kobe went on to win 2 more, so all is forgiven. But imagine the Shaq and Kobe Lakers in the social media era where they won 3 championships. They make the finals in 04 as favorites. And then they don't just get beat, they get stomped on. Like they got ghetto stomped. It was a 5-game series. Kobe shot absolutely terrible. I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but it would be the rough equivalent of like some form of the Warriors getting snuffed out. Not just beaten, but actually snuffed out. So however we would treat the Warriors is probably how we would have treated the Lakers. It would have been a much bigger stain on both Shaq and Kobe's reputation or records. Yeah, it would have been a much bigger stain than it is. Right now, it's just like one of those things that happened, but I agree. In the era of social media and NBA Twitter, yeah, this would probably be a much bigger deal. As far as Billups and Wallace being Hall of Famers, no doubt, I don't think we have that much power. Vince Carter jumping over the 7-footer in the Olympics. You know what's crazy? Is I can't remember how long ago it was, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, but when DeMar DeRozan did that 360 and almost dunked on that guy, that almost dunk was a really big deal on the internet. So imagine Vince Carter jumping over a 7-foot player in the era of NBA Twitter. All you have to do to imagine the impact of that is just imagine what we go crazy over now. Like just the other night, Jason Tatum had this nice spin move and then he kind of dunked on Ben Simmons. It was a really nice move and my jaw hit the floor. So Vince Carter jumping over a 7-foot. Yeah, Twitter might crash. Not just NBA Twitter, Twitter might have just crashed. The rumors of Tim Duncan, Grant Hill, and Tracy McGrady teaming up together for a big 3, oh, of course. Free agent speculation, or speculation in general, is just like red meat for NBA Twitter. So at that time, you have Tim Duncan, who's already won a championship. You've got Grant Hill, who was doing really good in Detroit, and then T-Mac. Rumors of those 3 teaming up, I think it'd be bigger than what we expect to happen this summer. Cause I think we expect there to be some shakeups this summer, but we're only expecting maybe duos. So you're talking of a trio of at least 2 superstars and an all-star, or maybe even just 3 superstars. Yeah, I could see all of them right now being photoshopped. You know the thing Twitter does now where we have these like really professional photoshops where you have to question if these guys have actually played on this team before. Yeah, that's the one thing I hate that we don't have out of this situation. And just free agents going to the Orlando Magic in general, I'm not sure how Twitter would handle that one. That's a situation that we just don't have in the modern day. No one says, oh yeah, this guy's gonna go to Orlando. Like that never happens. So on NBA Twitter, we would have a section of Magic fans rise up out of nowhere, because right now I've only ever seen like 1 or 2 of them. Oh, here's a good one. Jordan's first retirement. He's talking about how there was speculation that it was actually a suspension. Yeah, that's like the ultimate conspiracy theory. But you know NBA Twitter loves conspiracy theories. Yeah, totally agree with this one. This is something similar but not quite the same as Magic Johnson retiring, because again, they were both really good players when this happened. Jordan was fresh off of his 3rd championship and then he just disappeared. So yeah, now you have a power balance shift in the NBA. You know you're going to see a different NBA finals, so a lot of different fan bases are more excited. And then of course, like this guy says, the speculation about his gambling. Oh yeah, there's probably a section of the internet that would have convinced themselves that this was a suspension and that it wasn't just him retiring. And then of course you go through like that whole year or year and a half where everyone's trying to bring him back to the game. And then when he announces he comes back, yeah, NBA Twitter, that would be really cool for Twitter to be around back then. That one time when Willis Reed fought the whole other team, yeah, I got you right now. I'm gonna go ahead and show you this video in case you haven't saw it. There's a pretty it's pretty ratchet footage, but you can still make out Willis Reed basically taking the entire bench of, I believe it was the Lakers, not sure, but like he just went in, he just knocked everybody out. You wouldn't have wanted Willis Reed around at the time of the Malice at the Palace, because people would have got hurt. Well, people did get hurt, but I don't know, it might have been fatal. I never seen one guy go take an entire bench on his own, just like in a row. This is some Kimbo Slice shit. Dirk losing as the 1st seed, you are 100% correct. I don't think he would have lived that down as easily as he did. When we think of Dirk, we just think of positivity because, well, he completely redeemed himself by beating the Miami Heat super team in 2011, especially as the underdog, so that was like the greatest redemption. But even before then, I feel like he was not really that slandered for what happened when they won how many games? I believe like 67, and then they lost to the 8th seed. Yeah, that would have been a huge deal. An 8th seed beating a team that everyone thought was going to win the NBA title that year. In the era of social media, that would be a much bigger stain on Dirk's record, whereas you get to where we are now and it happened, what, 12 years ago? So it's just a thing where nobody cares. But I think that, again, that has something to do with the amount of redemption that he had by beating the big 3 Miami Heat in 2011. I'm interested to see how it would have shaken out if he lost both of those NBA finals and in the 1st round. I think he might be remembered a little bit differently. Imagine the timeline after Magic dribbles out the clock. Yeah, if you don't know what he's talking about, he's referring to the NBA Finals where they were playing against the Boston Celtics, and Magic Johnson just had one of those brain dead moments, and the Lakers had a chance to win the game, and Magic literally, it's like a 2K glitch, he literally just dribbled the clock out. He was not aware of the time they had left, and yeah, he would be slandered forever. You're talking about, this is like a J.R. Smith level screw up right here, but it's something that you rarely ever hear about. Again, like Dirk, because Magic has had success in his career, so I think he just kind of washed it out. He's had redemption. But yeah, at the time that this happens, I think isn't this what gave him the name Tragic Johnson, I believe? I think it was that whole series where he basically screwed up. So yeah, NBA Twitter would have a field day with the memes. Kermit Washington nearly killing Rudy T with a single punch. Oh, absolutely. This is something like Malice at the Palace, but not really. Yeah, he hit that guy so hard, like he had spinal fluid leaking, so this instantly turns into a meme, and we still hear about it somewhat today, but not really. But yeah, the interwebs would have fun with this one. Rodman kicking the cameraman. Yeah, someone else said Rodman's entire career, really. But yeah, specifically kicking the cameraman. He got mad and kicked the cameraman, and that guy acted like he died, like he was trying to secure the bag. I think that game delayed for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and they had to take him out on the stretcher. Yeah, this would be a really funny situation to happen right now where we have the type of coverage we have. That'd be hilarious. And for our finale, of course, you know we cannot get out of this without talking about the CP3 Lakers trade fiasco. Now the thing is, people were on Twitter around the time that this happened, but this was around the time when NBA players could tweet, and they would only get like 300 likes and a couple of retweets. Like, there wasn't as many people. And NBA Twitter, I don't think itself was actually formally born yet. Yeah, the trade fiasco, imagine this, because I remember where I was when this happened. For about, I can't remember the exact amount of time, but it seemed like for about 30 minutes, Chris Paul and Kobe were confirmed as teammates. The trade had gone down. So NBA Twitter, there would already be ongoing conversation. Laker fans would be in a frenzy. They got Chris Paul now. They're rejuvenated. They're going to win another title, or at least they're going to get, you know, what was happening at the time is they were trying to get Dwight Howard. So they're saying down the road, we're going to get Dwight Howard as well, and Kobe's going to get more rings. And all that's going to go on for 30 minutes, and then suddenly news is going to break that trade was vetoed. And oh goodness, there would be a riot on one side of Twitter. There would be another side that is just absolutely laughing as hard as humanly possible at Laker fans. Like, just imagine Anthony Davis gets traded somewhere this summer and then it gets vetoed. So for 30 minutes, some team has Anthony Davis, and then 30 minutes later, they don't have him. Yeah, NBA Twitter would have a full-on meltdown. That's a really good one. Alright, and that is today's NBA Twitter video. I was trying to stay away from highlights just because, I don't know, I feel like I was going to say the same thing 100 times. You know, of course, there's so so many highlights that would have set NBA Twitter on fire, like Scottie Pippen's dunk on Patrick Ewing. Like there's so many of those on-court events that would happen, but I think the situational types, I think those were a lot more interesting. So hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed. Make sure to hit me up on Twitter if you want to be a part of the responses next time I do something like this, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.